Welcome to Whahahappen, the podcast where we talk about our latest chismes,
or gossip with you non-Spanish speaking folks,
crazy travel stories, hood memoirs, and food and wine.
This is an adult podcast,
so some of our topics may make our listeners a wee bit uncomfortable.
Listener discretion is advised.
And if you're of legal drinking age,
grab a glass of wine
or a beverage of your choice and enjoy the show.
How you doing today, this fine Sunday evening?
I'm doing fabulous. How are you doing? Oh, hi, everybody. This is Lala.
And this is Richmo. And
and this is Whahahappen. So we're going to talk about what happened today. Today is Sunday.
A lot of things happen on Sundays, but a lot of sleeping happened today.
Oh,
but
yeah, no kidding. Well, we stayed up super late yesterday. Well, I did. You didn't drop us off until like 2 a.m, right?
Yeah, 2 a.m, and then I drove home. I didn't get back. I slept like 3:32 because I had to wind down.
Yeah, exactly.
So
I got home and now I have a cat. So in the 2 weeks that we didn't record, do anything, I got a cat and I'm unemployed. What else?
Wait, why don't you tell us your cat's name? So if we see him, if he makes an appearance in front of us.
Yeah. So I was actually heading towards that. And so he woke me up today at 5 a.m. because he's a kitten. He's 6 months old. And he was running around. Like right now, he's like literally jumping off the bed, running into the living room, running back. And so he's a kitten and he's rambunctious. So he might like at some point ask me to pet him or like walk across me. You know what I mean? Because he always wants to have my attention. So he's just like, and then he does like these little cute meows. I don't know. Anyway, happy,
I'll post
proud.
So you guys all see the new kitty.
Cat mama.
But I guess we went on a little adventure this weekend. I mean, it's not a big adventure, but we have a friend who was on our episode number 8 and 9, our documentary episode, was part of a film festival here in Los Angeles, the Highland Park Film Festival. It's a small local film festival. And so we went to go support him. He was there, and Lala and I met him for a show, a block, or like a set of shorts, and we hung out. So that's what we did Saturday night. But wow, we saw a bunch of shorts, like local movies that people in Los Angeles were making, and I've always find it really interesting. Did you find that interesting? Because some of the movies I thought, well, is that it? And then it just kept going, or it's just like some more incoherent. I was like, oh,
you were so over it.
I mean, I don't want
you kept making comments like I honestly was
commenting. Oh no. I was like, because I was like, some of the plots and some of these things, I was like, and then this, and then it happens. It's like, you could tell the storyline where it was.
No, but I think like, you were just so over it, like having to watch all these films, like little short films, like it sounded like you were just over it. Like, all right, dude, is this over already? Like, when can we fucking leave the theater?
Oh my stars.
That's what you sounded like.
Well, yeah, I mean, how many? There were like 6 films, right? So each film was about maybe.
No, I think it was 8.
8 films. So there are 8 films. And I don't know what films made me feel like I was like that film about the telephone with this one person was a little claustrophobic. I felt a little claustrophobic at that point.
Which one? The one with the telephone?
The school shooting. The school shooting one. You knew it was a school shooting.
Yeah, I already knew it. I knew it when she received that phone call. It's just, I mean, maybe because I've already received those phone calls of people shooting, and so I'm like, I already know. I don't know. Ya tenía la presencia, que that's how that shit was gonna go,
Yeah.
And so I was just like, fuck. But
Yeah.
honestly, the only one that I had a problem with was the last one,
Oh, the wedding.
because the wedding. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah, I
I'm
thought it
sure
was
it's
just like,
good. It's good, but it was very triggering for me just
yeah,
because of the die by suicide. Well,
the
accidentally shot
device
himself.
yeah, that was,
And
it was uncalled
with a
for. I think they
shotgun,
got
it's a shotgun, and like I don't know if you guys know, if you shoot yourself in the face with a shotgun, you don't have a head anymore. So it's very triggering for me.
and I don't think they needed to go that far to portray the message that they wanted to go, because I think that, you know,
It
once
was
that,
very like I guess, but like that's what I'm saying. Normally, I don't think I would be bothered by it, but it's because of what I recently had to go through. Um, so
once I realized, and I kind of figured, like I knew it wasn't that, like, she had another lover who wanted to get married with her too at the altar. I knew it wasn't that. Otherwise, he would have like freaked out, or, maybe they wouldn't be talking. But once she said what the problem was in that particular short, I thought that was the end of the movie. Like I got it. Like, oh, this is what it, okay. And then I had to deal with that. But then it just went like on a sidebar, like another thing, and it just kept going. And it was just like, oh my, I just wanted to deal with that, and that feeling of like, okay, they had to go through an emotional hurdle to get through something. That's enough as a human, because those are things that as humans, we can all understand what that kind of emotion is when there's something happening or somebody gets sick and you have to deal with it and it's pretty heavy. But yeah, I think they went too far, and then they just didn't do anything for me. It was cool, not to say that you can't be creative and do something different, but you know, and then
I really, and normally I like shock value. I really do, but I just, what I'm thinking, it's because of my recent trauma, and so like that's why I thought I already knew the one with the gun violence, the mass shooting, school violence. That's why I already knew right away. Right away, I already fucking knew. I'm like, oh no, this is that. But like I could already, because unfortunately, like you and I have been exposed to a lot of gun violence. And so, it was just very triggering, which is why I voted for the, although this one is also, she was trying to die by suicide. And,
when
but
she took the
that
rate,
lady
yeah,
dies. And I was just like, oh my God, like, and like, if for all you guys who don't know, one of my best friends and roommates of 20 years died by suicide like 2 years ago. So it's like super triggering. And he text messaged me right before. And so, yeah. That's why I was like, oh my
horrible.
God. Yeah. And so like a lot of the films dealt a lot with suicide, and so I was just like, fuck, like, and I don't know if they were trying to make light of it or normalize it, or I just felt very conflicted about the genres, and I understand like it's something that needs to be spoken about because of the mental illness that is the cause of this, and it's not their fault that they feel this way. A lot of the times it's just people are not like maybe they need mental help, they need psych
Just somebody
chingaderas.
look out for them. Somebody to check in and
Yeah,
just say, hey,
or
what's going
sometimes
on?
some people need medication, like I'm on medication. But so I'm not sure if they were like, there was so many films that were like dealt with suicide, and so I was like, are they trying to bring it to awareness, or like, but I couldn't, I felt like I couldn't judge them with like clear eyes because of what I just went through. So I kind of felt like, oh man, if I didn't have to have had this experience, maybe I could have seen it from a different point of view. but I think it's because I, just went through this recently that
Yeah,
it was
that
just,
inflict.
it was really difficult for me. I was like, oh,
I know.
like
You know when that
literally
happened,
the
and
wedding, literally and it was the last film that was shown, and I felt like I was gonna have a panic attack. Like literally, I started to feel like the room was closing, and I wanted to vomit. I was just like, and then I don't know if it was because I ate a hot dog at the fucking.
it might have been the hot dog
It might have been
popcorn
the hot
nacho
dog.
combination.
It might have been the stale nachos. Dude,
I
those
know. I was like,
fucking
they gave you like
they were
extra nachos.
stale, bro. They were so stale. That's why I couldn't eat them. And you know how much I
And no
love nachos.
jalapenos. I
And
know.
you
I was
know,
like,
yeah, I love
I was
nachos,
all like,
but
they're hooking you
bro,
up. At first, I thought they're hooking you
nah.
up. They gave her like a stack and like a big box of nachos. I'm like, wow, they really hooked us up. And then you realize they hooked it up because nobody buys the nachos. They're like, let's get these stale nachos out of here.
Dude, they were
Funny, that's it.
so stale. I was just like, yeah, like if you guys know me, like nachos are my shit. You know what I mean? So yeah,
Nacho.
but I ate the hot dog with like a ton of condiments. Like I love to put extra everything. It's a
No
condiment
bacon.
sandwich.
It's a condiment sandwich. So we went to see a block. So the block, I guess in the film festival, if you guys aren't privy to film they every hour they have like certain films or runs. And in this particular film festival, the last block or the showing that we went to was all the short films. So that was still kind of fun, even though I was like, there was that one film that was shot in Sicily, the one.
Yeah.
Did you understand that? I mean, it was pretty
Yes.
obtuse. It's just like,
Yes.
I get
Well,
this.
yes.
I understood it, but it's still like,
And there's not a lot of dialogue, and it's just, but it's. I have to say, it was more like visual for me. Like, oh
it was.
fuck! Like you're like, oh, I know it. Oh shit! Oh fuck! You know what I mean? You're like, you just, but it also you have to read the translations at the bottom, so you're like taking away from looking at the film itself. So that's the only thing, like, because I couldn't then focus. Like, I don't know. I think I could have because it's in Italian. I think like it's very similar to Spanish. I think I could have like just listening to it, and then with the imagery that they had, I can follow along just fine. I think I could have done without the translation and still have had completely an idea of what it was about, Like, and I think that's when, oh man, we should have voted for that one. That one's actually really good.
Which one? The Sicily one?
That one, yeah, the way you were talking.
It was just, it was quick and it got to the point, but it didn't make me feel anything. Like, I understood what
it made
was
me feel
saying,
shocked. It made me feel
like,
shocked.
it
Like,
made me feel
oh
like,
shit. Like,
yeah, you got
fuck.
fired because you slept with the director, or is it the director wanting to get you out, or is it that people were talking and the
Well, he got a
man
new
was the
piece.
director?
He got a new piece. Those other young chicks that were laughing at her. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
I don't,
it could have gone either way. I was just like, oh, wow, that
I don't know.
sucks.
I actually, well,
Did he set her up? Do you think it was a setup?
Well, it's just okay. So I have a thing where like I always tell people like, can you please just tell me your point first and then tell me your story afterwards? Because I can't pay attention that long.
So this is perfect for you. It was like 5 minutes, like, oh, this is telling me a story and the
so
point.
direct.
Oh, it's quick.
So like for all you guys who work with me on the boats, we have an introduction. And you're supposed to do like team building, a workshop before you work with the crew on the boats, because you're going to be in you have to work a whole season with these people. You live with them, you work with them 24/7 for months at a time. And so, team building is very, very crucial to boat living. So one of the things they would do is like, okay, what are your triggers? What, blah, blah, blah. How best to communicate with you. And my thing was like, please tell me your point first. and then tell me the story. You can tell me a 5-hour story if you want at that point, but I know what to focus on. Because if you tell me the story first and I don't know your point, I don't make the connection. I don't know where to focus in your story. Like, what is the important thing, because you haven't gotten to your point. So I don't know what you're talking about the whole fucking time for 5 hours. And so I'm like, no. See, my brain works different. Like, tell me the point first and then tell me your 5-hour story. Because now I know what to focus on in your story. And I can follow along, because otherwise I can't follow along. That's why I'm always telling you, like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like,
oh wait, so the film festival is good if you read the little pamphlet and it gives you like a little synopsis of each story. You're like, aha, I know all about this already. I can just enjoy it now. I don't have to think too much.
Well, no. I don't like doing that either. I never do that with movies. I always just watch random things. But to me, that is the point, because you have to be able to engage, because this is a visual event. So, you need to be able to engage me visually. And so that's why I think that Sicily film was really good, because it's geared towards people like me, like who I'm like, yo, bro, get to the point. What? So that I can pay attention, because otherwise I'm in La La Land, literally like my mind goes all over the place. So yes, I might have ADD. Did you ever, I can't pay attention.
Have you ever played with the Simon Says with those colors? Boop, 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 like red, green, blue, and is an old toy where you just hit the colors and you got to repeat it. Anyway, that film had that same color palette, like green, blue, red, dark blue, red. It had like the colors were kind of all washed over the film, but that's what it reminded me of, like a Simon Says. It was just like, it was just weird. The color, that's what I remember. I was like, oh, look at that color. And then they went to the next scene, it was a whole other color. And then they went to this thing, it was a whole different color, like a whole wash over the whole film. But it was good. We saw our friend Alessandra there.
So quick question. What does it mean? Like, because they said that they shot that in 35 millimeter. What does that mean?
Okay, because
I was curious when they brought it up, and I was like, man, I don't know what. And I was so like curious, like, well, how is that different than regular filming? So can you please explain this to me?
I'll explain this to everyone listening. So the reason it was so special, because it was shot on 35 millimeter film, just like Zack Snyder or even like Oppenheimer shot 30, on film. Film, because
on actual film.
Yeah,
and okay, so I thought that's what that meant, but I wasn't 100% sure. So okay.
So that means that when they, with a 35 millimeter roll, you have like 10 minutes worth of film. So when you're shooting film, everything counts. Like right now, everybody shoots digital on a movie set. Everything's digital. And so you can stop, keep going, you can pause. You never have to stop recording. You just put under a slate or just reset and you keep going. But it won't cost you what it would cost you if you had to do that on film, because film runs out and it's an actual physical thing. And you have 10-minute loads. So you got to really think about what you're going to do when you have that film there, And plus, the processing for film is totally different. It's an exposed thing. Anybody's worked on photography, you got to do the same thing with the roll of film. And that costs a lot more money. It takes a lot more time.
Don't know how that even works.
Oh boy. Yeah, we can go to there's only one place that actually develops film in Los Angeles now, and that's a place called Photochem. And they still have baths or film, but I think it's like once a week or something. They still do it, because much like when you develop a film, like, or a print and things like that, and it has different chemicals, so they got to run it through different chemicals to get that film.
Right.
Images have a different texture and a different life. It just looks totally different.
I always thought that like photography was so magical. Seriously. Like since I was a kid, I always thought like the concept of photography in itself is fucking magical. Like, before they used to have the powder chingadera, and you light it and and it captures the image. It's just like, how did you figure this shit out, bro? You know what I mean? Like, how? What the fuck were you doing in your life that you?
Let me tell you. Oh, this is a really great segue. How about alien technology?
Oh shit!
Oh,
Yes. Okay. Oh
like,
my
God. How does anybody create anything? Like, you would
So
think photography, like, who created
40,
that?
41 minutes into our podcast, we are getting to what our topic was.
Well, is it 41 minutes?
Our
Is it
topic,
though?
it is 41 and 30 seconds.
Oh, Lala's keeping a timer. She's going boop. She's like a chess player, She's got the timers like boop, boop, boop. Well, I mean, I gotta
So,
say, yeah, let's talk about alien.
yeah,
When I say alien
so
technology, is that those are some of the things I think in my life. Or don't you like TVs? How do we get the pixels? Even our podcast, how we like transferring our images and how is it actually working? They all say it's science, and somebody like studied all that stuff, but really, electrons, zeros and ones, and it all comes back together. And I mean, maybe if I was a scientist and maybe if I studied it, it would actually make more sense. But it's like a whole mathematical language that I'll probably never understand.
bro, it's all mathematics. Oh my
Mhm.
God. Why do you think I'm into quantum physics? Because everything can be explained with mathematics, literally.
Yeah. So I'm
So what
always
he's
thinking like,
talking about is UFOs and UFO technology on Earth is actually what he very roundabout tried to say. Let me get to the
oh
point.
yeah, aliens,
hence,
aliens. Can anybody
hence
say
that
aliens?
movie. Like, let's get
Wait,
to the point.
well,
After
not
40
only
minutes.
that. After 40 minutes. Well, actually, this actually started like a few weeks ago. I had a friend who called me and he said, "You gotta check this out. This is happening live in Mexico." And I'm like, "What? What's
Oh my
happening?
God.
Why are you waking me up? Like, what's going on? What are you so excited about?" He's all like, "They're gonna show aliens in the Congress in Mexico." And I'm
And
sure
see,
this is that was crazy. It's just like, what?
okay. So then Rich message calls me and he's like, dude, you gotta watch this. Da, 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 da. And so he wakes me up, but he doesn't tell me
It's like
anything.
everybody's waking
He
it.
doesn't tell me anything about what it is. He just says, you gotta watch this. You have to watch this. And so I'm like, all right. And I'm fucking just waking up, like, da, 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 making my mushroom coffee. Yeah,
So
so alien technology basically. So he didn't tell me what this show is about. I just kind of just started watching it and then I was like, what direction is this going to? And then I was like, oh shit, you know what I mean? Um
with the Mexican Congress.
yeah. Well, I was like, why am I watching Mexican Congress, And I really then suddenly they are like, we are gonna actually just come out with it, like, because in la Cámara de Diputados is to people voice their concerns, and so they were like, we've had a lot of people come to us, and this is a topic that everybody wants to discuss. So they held the first worldwide Congress chingadera, like for people from all countries of the world come with their evidence and show and expose that this is something that has been going on forever, like forever, you know what I mean? Like
So
they have
they divulged they had two alien bodies that kind of
that
look like
was the like.
that was
So
the high point.
an hour later, I'm watching this, and then they're like, "Oh yeah, after this break, we're gonna have something special." Da, da, da. So they go on their little break, they come back, and they have like two mummified alien buddies. And I was like, "No mames!" And they supposedly did carbon dating on them. And then the princess started to fucking go crazy and start, do you hear them when they were attacking the people? And they're like, "No, no, no. You guys will have your time to come and see this up close." They said, but right now let's continue with
Yeah, and
with
it was
the
really,
meeting.
and this is not like, I have to say the US has had these too, and then like not a lot of
Well, there
it doesn't
was
get a
a
lot of
lot of
press.
US military people there too who spoke. So it was like people
Mhm.
from like Japan, from France. There was people from like South America, and so
Yeah,
it's just like
it is
it was really
well-rounded.
crazy.
It
Yeah.
was
And so
well-rounded. They had a lot of, yeah, it was pretty nuts. I mean, you look at those things, and then I was seeing all the backlash because whenever something like this happens, there's the haters and the people that want to believe or believe, the skeptics, and so there's a lot of jokes afterwards, but that was real. If you got to ask yourself, why would any government take their time and actually put something together, televise it to the world, and say we look like idiots? No, it's because they were just showing you.
well, what they said was specifically it was that because this is a form in the Mexican government where people can bring up topics that the government needs to address. And so they said, because we got so many requests of this particular topic, we are going to bring it up because we want to be just. We want to be just and have the forum open to all kinds of ideas. Whereas in the United States, they have like continuously refused to even have people speak about this out loud in Congress. They come and you can bring up your topic.
Yeah.
And so
Uh,
the government, the Mexican government, this is so forward thinking, I think, for the Mexican, because a lot of people might ridicule it or try to ridicule it, but actually you're listening to all forms of thinking. You are no longer locked into your old ways. And like a lot of Mexican people are very, well, especially men, they're very machista, so they're very locked, and the women have to be this fucking procreation chingadera. And you know what I mean? Like everybody's locked very much into their roles for a government that is notoriously known to be kind of, oppressive.
Patriarchal.
Yeah, patriarchal and oppressive to women. For them to have this open mind and have actual conference where people from all over the world come, that is, for me, that's why I was so shocked, because I would have never thought that they would be so open. Yeah. And like they just recently allowed uh gay people to get married. And so, it's just like, and then also the abortion just went through too. And so I'm like, fuck yes, so
Is that AMLO, the president? Is he the one that's like really progressive, you think? He's like, fuck it.
no,
Or
no.
where do you think that's coming from? The like
I
Congress
I
and
think
people?
it's the Congress. Yeah. Because and that's why it shocked me, because when I saw what you told me, like, dude, watch this, and I was watching it, and I was like, I am so proud that they are so forward, like now, like they're no longer backward thinking, or at least I can see them getting out of their backward thinking, because it's very machista, it's very patriarchal, and now like there all these movements that are going through, and then also then fucking watching this, and I was just like, and at first I thought it was like a joke, like a
Like you thought
and
somebody to come out with like a giant elephant and go, it's a joke, like a comedy skit.
no,
It's not. It
I
wasn't.
thought it was like a mockumentary.
Oh, yeah, no, it was not.
Yeah.
And
And it,
that's what you
and
kind
that,
of feel like it was when you start to
yeah,
like,
yeah.
because
Yes,
anytime
when you
somebody
start to
tells
see
you
the
or talks to you,
evidence.
yeah, when you start to see the evidence, people start talking about like extraterrestrial life forms, but they're really serious about it. Like, no, motherfucker, this is
And these
real.
are
This is what it is.
government
This is the
agencies
thing.
from different governments and military, ex-military,
Oh, it's like,
and also like NASA, you know, the NASAs of each country. Like I'm like, what? And I was literally just watching it, bro. And okay, this shit is like 4 hours long. And I swear I woke up because he fucking woke me up with this shit. And I was like,
Oh.
why the fuck are you waking me up? And so then I
Is
started
that what you
watching
thought?
it.
Why the fuck?
Yes, I always think that. I'm like, why the
This
fuck
was
is he
this was
texting me
pre
so early in the morning?
this was pre-cat, by the way. This was pre-cat. So
Oh yeah.
now I know that he's gonna be waking her up at 5 o'clock in the morning. I might be able to catch her at 8 and say, I know you're awake. It's okay, you can answer
Yes.
the phone.
Ugh.
But all this leads into my next segue, which is the reason I'm bringing this up, because I work with someone that actually was instrumental in like bringing UFO footage to the US government and having it exposed like years before in the Obama administration. I work with this director named Tom DeLonge, who's the lead singer for Angels and Airwaves and Blink 182. He just got back with Blink, but he had a movie. His movie just came out this past Friday, and I helped him with the editing. And that movie deals with, kind of UFOs and energy and religion and all these, it's really lighthearted because it's like it's really I don't even know what genre that would be, like sci-fi, feel
Okay.
good, kind of like scary.
Okay. So, like, okay, when you told me about this, and I love the fact that you did not tell me what it was about. Like, you gave me kind of like a very super general premise, but like, when I watched it, I was not expecting this, like, at all. Like, I was thinking it's gonna be like a very documentary style chingadera, and it and it was not. It was like super. It started off really humorous. I mean, they're dealing with really like fucking topics that are, like he's arguing with his mother about like, well, how is it so hard for you to believe in aliens? You believe in this mythical person who's supposedly called Jesus, etc. You know what I mean? So I was just like, fuck yes. Like, I always think that too, And so, like, it made its point, but very in a light way. So it was like fluffy.
Yeah.
If I can describe the film, it's going to be like, it was very
like
fluffy.
It's a fluffy film.
Fluffy and airy.
And the movie.
Yeah, and like the guy who fucking took the most fucking special brownies is the one that was like, okay, then you drive us out of here.
Yeah. And let me, before I keep going, the movie is Monsters of California. So if you guys have a chance to watch that film, it's called Monsters of California, directed by Tom DeLonge. And yeah, I thought it was, I mean,
So, okay, so what he didn't mention is that he did the editing for this. So let's just start from the beginning. We've been jumping everywhere. Sorry.
Yeah, I thought it was like, oh, well, because, we had that whole UFO incident like maybe a few weeks ago, maybe 3 weeks ago. I was like, oh, now the movie's coming out. I was like, well, let's just talk about these. It's kind of like talk about these kind of things because we're dealing with kind of, alien technology and where things come from. And when did they start? I always had these questions about UFOs and things like that, the supernatural, and do these things all exist? But the movie actually covers a little bit of everything, It kind of stays in line with like energy and, and
and also like sound waves, energy, vibes, And so it's just like, I mean, I know it sounds really hippie-ish, but it's stuff that I have recently come across and I feel like I have more of a connection because I felt like I was kind of disconnected, and that's why I have had all these like negative thinking and because I think I felt just disconnected from what I normally vibe at, and nature, and it was a fucking pandemic, seriously. I fucking hate pandemic. I feel like
we couldn't go out, right?
It miscalibrated. It miscalibrated me, It's just like, oh my god, now I have to live in this other reality, and then like to me it was a very difficult reality to live with, and it's just like, and then my friend dies, and so it's just like
it happened for the whole a lot of people went through I believe, a lot of similar kind of emotions.
Yes,
You think about your
exactly.
mortality and everybody else, and what do we hear? It's just like all these emotions are flooding through your brain, and then you have aliens. And then you have aliens. Or do you have aliens? I mean, did you believe the Mexican Congress? When you saw those things, did you say, they're mummified, they x-rayed them, but are they? They're really tiny, and are they? Um, and I know they got a lot of backlash from a lot of people, like the skeptics. They're always going to be skeptics. I mean, I could
Of
tell you,
course.
you know, for every good thing, you're gonna have a skeptic. It's just like flat earthers or something. Like there are flat earthers. I'm
I
not one of them,
know. When I
but
found
they're
out
flat
about it,
earthers.
I was like, no way. People think that. And I was like, oh,
Yeah, it's
wait.
like the idea of like you don't think aliens are a possibility.
Well,
You think this
well,
one star
okay.
system?
I grew up in a very scientific home, so my family all, studies some sort of science. And so I didn't grow up with religion because they told me that religion is how, they control the masses. And so they told me, what are you, a sheep? No, you're an individual thinker. So they're like, you don't need religion because you can think for yourself. And I'm like, and then in my, 5-year-old brain, I don't know how that made sense. I was like, oh yeah, obviously I'm not a sheep.
Obviously.
Obviously, like
But if
literally,
you were a sheep, what color
it
sheep
made.
would you be? No.
¿Y cuál saber mejor?
Yeah, and which one tastes better? Oh my
Which
God.
color tastes better?
I I kind of, I really enjoyed the movie. I know it was all over the place, but it's got a lot of heart, and it was punching up because, for a movie like that, it's not like $100 million movie where you got like everybody. He's got a cast that I thought was terrific for the parts they played, and I
You know,
really,
you know what
for
it
the kind of
reminded
money
me
they
a
made that
lot
for.
is Park and Recs. The cast of Park and Recs. Like the
Put in the
guys,
movie.
they reminded me of that cast. Like
I
the
see.
goofy kids, they're just like goofy kids.
Yeah,
I don't know.
they were
It
the
it just
skater punk rock kids. Yeah.
yeah, like it just had a lot of reminiscence to the show Parks and Recs, Recs and Parks,
And I know
whatever.
that, much like every genre, if it doesn't resonate with you, it doesn't resonate. But it resonated with me, and I'm sure it'll find its audience and it'll resonate. But it says some really good things, and I just think it was cool. But I'm talking about it because it just opened up, and I think right now, currently on like iTunes for independent films, it's like number two, just in the past weekend. So it's shot up there as like people buying it. So I'm excited about that. That's good for Tom, and I hope he gets to make more movies because he's got a great imagination, and
Yeah.
you know,
Well, like I said, I thought it was gonna be another because I have been watching like Unbelievable Chingaderas, or I don't know what it's called, but I think it's on HBO, and it's the guy from, oh my God.
is it the gummy?
From Star. Yeah, it is. It is. Because I
The
literally
gummies.
thought it is the gummies. The gummies make me forget things.
All right, folks, just the gummies.
The gummies. But anyway, the gummy kicked in. So
Gummy kicked in. So going back to the movie, it was something that I was really happy to be working on. It was cool to work on that little project or the big project because it's got a lot of heart. It's got a big heart for the kind of movie it was. And yeah, a lot of people, there might be some folks that will not vibe with it, but then there are going to be a lot of people that vibe with it. So, you know, it's up to you really. I
I
mean, did you
think it's
enjoy
the
it?
right people are gonna vibe with it. Like the
Yeah.
people
Well,
that
I
lean towards that vibe will vibe with
Yeah,
it.
I was like, oh man,
Well,
I'm gonna eat some shrooms and watch the movie
and
again
bro,
and see what.
bro, bro. So that gummy was fucking fabulous for the movie.
Right.
Like I said, I was expecting just totally something because of, the concepts we were speaking about before, prior to you telling me about it. It was leaning towards more like documentary, serious. There's no
So you probably thought I sent
comedy.
you a documentary.
Yeah, literally.
That's hilarious. Well,
And
I'm
so
glad it
I
was something
start
different
watching
then.
this and I'm like, wait, what the fuck is this? And then I was like, oh, like, and then I like just enjoyed it for what it was, like, oh my God, like it's,
Come
yeah,
along for the
like,
ride.
yes,
Yeah.
definitely. I would have to say it's more, it's like a futuristic half-baked or something.
Yeah, I mean it's its own thing. I can't even really explain it.
Hmm.
Like
Yeah,
it's got a
yeah.
little bit of everything. It's got a
But it
little bit
has
of love
that,
of everything.
but it has that vibe of half-baked, like it, but with more, yeah, it's totally different, but vibe wise, and you would understand if you're those kind of people that feel vibes and shit, like it
Yeah.
just feels very much like a half-baked film, but totally
And you know
different.
what? And it's a movie, and we were talking about movies in the beginning because we went to the film festival and we ended on another movie here. I mean, I'm liking this movie thing, movies, they can say a lot. Then sometimes they can say nothing, but
Yeah.
I paused. I paused.
Wow, you paused.
I heard something in my head. It was boop boop, and I'm like, stop, stop.
Wait,
So
did you eat the gummy too? What the fuck?
the gummy. I might have had something else. I'm a little tired. I gotta say, I'm a little tired. I haven't been sleeping well, and I'm starting on, doing on another show, and the person I'm working with is on a different time zone, so I'm back and forth. So,
Oh, right, the other one that you're working on. Got it.
mhm. Aliens and alien technologies. It's kind of amazing to think that these things are coming out. It's not a big deal. I mean, is it a big deal? I mean, it was kind of nonchalant, like the Mexican Congress does it, the US Congress does it, for the what is it? They don't call them UFOs anymore. They're called unidentified aerial threats or whatever. They call them something else other than UFOs. And UFOs is the old school kind of like from the 40s and the 50s. That's what you call them, but they call them something else now. Yeah, I think aliens exist. What about you?
Ovnis. Well, of
Mm.
course. It would be so ridiculous of me to think that in this vast universe, where we are just one tiny planet in one solar system that is many solar systems compose a fucking nebula, or lo que se llame. You know what I mean? Like, in all those possibility of worlds, statistically speaking, there has to be. Like, what are you talking about? Like, if you
Well,
just, and a lot of people are very like statistics for like sports and shit, which is totally useless for me. I'm like, why would you use statistics for sports? Like, to me, that is the most useless way of using mathematics. But
sure, gambler.
oh, yeah, I didn't think about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm not a gambler.
So, neither am I. So
Yeah,
it's
like
useless.
I never.
Totally useless.
To me, it's fucking useless. Like, if
Well,
you're
I
gonna
want to.
use it, apply it to the possibility of other life forms being on other planets, because, well, obvio, statistically speaking, by the potential amount of fucking planets that are out in the fucking universe, the expanse of the universe. You understand how fucking large this universe is? Like, statistically speaking, the odds are just so strong. Like, bruh. You know what I mean?
I'm
Like,
gonna say this. I am grateful for the alien technology that allows us to make sound waves and talk and record video
oh my
and
God.
actually broadcast through the internet to talk to all you
Okay,
folks.
So
Oh
since
my!
we're on this fucking topic, I was telling you, I was watching this show. Is called like Unbelievable, Undiscovered. I don't know, it's on HBO with the guy from Star Trek. ¿Cómo se llama? Something
A
Shatner.
burden,
Something
William
Shatner.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Oh, I
Yes.
know that. Oh,
Dude.
yes. William.
So
Oh, man. That's
yes,
scary.
dude.
It's
Okay, okay.
scary
So this
because
is
it doesn't
where
just deal with UFOs or anything. It deals with
all forms.
ghosts,
So
anything.
he was just talking about he was in I don't know, somewhere in the Middle East, and he went to these caves where these people, and these are like,
Unexplained.
yo,
It's the show.
they created this underground caves, and they vibrated music and when you vibrate the mute, like just sound, it sounds like it's a chorus. And they created this shit like
Where do they get the plans for that? Somebody can somebody say like
way BC. No, but it's on like on granite. It's like on just stone. Like they just
well, that's the whole
carved
thing is
these
just like
tunnels. But they made them so that they vibrate sound, so that when you vibrate a sound, it literally sounds like humming, like the ohm, the sound of the
yeah.
ohm. And this is in the middle. Like, oh my god, dude! It's just like
And
they come up
for
with a
those
lot
of
of
you,
stuff.
yeah.
And so like, okay, and so I went to Chichen Itza when I was traveling through Mexico, and saw the pyramids. And you go to this one of the pyramids, and when you clap, your clapping sound, when it echoes, how they built it is so that you're able to create the sound of this particular bird that lives in that region.
Wonder if that's kind of like the same idea of those caves, because everybody's
Exactly.
got to
And
understand.
and remember they found that like crystal skull
Mm,
in Maya, Mexico, that looks like a fucking alien skull, but it's
it-
crystal. And so
mm.
they were just like, how you would,
Ooh,
you know, and I always believe that we lost a sacred knowledge when religion came about. I think that the religion is the one that destroyed our sacred knowledge that we had before, because like, how did these civilizations that were what we consider to be high uh
collapse.
well, we have all this high technology compared to, you know, the people of back in the day. And so how do they develop things that we could not even do in our society now with the super advanced technology, quote unquote, that we supposedly have? So then how did these ancient cultures create such magnificent things if it were not for some sort of knowledge that they had, that when religion came in, eradicated that knowledge? Because I think they wanted it. Like, I think that was the beginning of capitalism. Seriously, they wanted like, you know, make it
Monetize
like,
everything,
yeah,
and only we can have this. Much like electricity.
you can pay for your sins to be absolved. Just give us some more. And literally, I was watching the Sopranos, and that's what the guy said. He's like, "How much have I given you in donation?" Like one of the guys from the mafia, and he's like, "And how come you fucking up?" Like he was telling him, like, if it's a machine, like, you as a priest, you're fucking up because I'm going to hell because you're not doing something correct. Like if it's a machine, you're not putting the slots in correctly. You know, I was just like, oh my God, I never thought it, but that is the concept of religion. Is like, your sins can be absolved if you just give us a donation. Or you
And you go
can
talk about it with the priest on a
yeah,
Saturday at the
exactly.
confession.
Like you can just rape someone, but as long as you confess, like, God forgives you. Like, what? Are you for real? Like, bro, that's some corrupt legal system. Heavenly legal system needs to have a revamp.
Yeah, no, that's wrong.
That is so
Um,
wrong.
yeah, I was just thinking of like all those things like the cave systems and things like that. Like statistically speaking, how would you think an ancient culture would have come up with something like that without a plan? Because it would have meant that that culture would have to try carving into granite multiple times to get it correctly, and then get it correctly, and then build the system. So, they would have done it once because it's granite. Or,
So, like I said, it's this lost knowledge. I feel because what we have, our present medicine system came from the knowledge of the elders of manipulating plants and extracting certain oils or whatever characteristics that help us in our body, like for a tummy ache, you take this, if you're feeling nauseated, you chew on this root, etc. Like,
or a good margarita pizza, you add basil.
Oh my God, dude, that place was fucking delicious. That was like such a good pizza.
Sorry, that's a tangent. I'm just thinking of the basil, how delicious that was.
I don't know how that has to do with what I was saying, but it really, but it plugs in. Yeah, basil's an herb and garlic. Garlic is
Garlic's good
very,
for viruses, right?
exactly. You take it when you're sick. And so, modern medicine has developed from this ancient knowledge that we had. And then it's just like, how did we lose it? It's because, we were introduced to this crazy religions. And, I think we're like heading in a downward spiral,
Wow.
like towards our doom.
Well,
Kind of like that
religion
movie.
has a lot to do with a lot of downfalls because, it's just like, this is, ideology, ideology has to be better than their ideology, and then they fight for it.
I don't see why they have to compete. I don't know why they have to compete.
So, Lala, do you have a favorite alien type movie? Did you watch E.T. or like Close Encounters of the Third Kind? Or like, I like Mars Attacks. Like, I really enjoy Mars Attacks from like Tim Burton. And there are other alien movies that I don't think I would want to be a part of. Like, if I had to live in that world, like Roland Emmerich's, Independence Day. I don't want to think that they're just going to come and invade our planet and destroy us, much like Mars Attacks. But Mars Attacks was really funny, but
Okay. I got it. I literally just thought about it right now. Okay, where you just asked me. So I recently saw it, and it's the new Predator. It's on HBO.
Aliens versus Predator.
Just Predator. It's called Predator. It's like the new version of Predator, of the Predator back in the 80s Predator.
Oh, it's like a remake of Predator?
Yes, Queen. Yes.
What?
It was so fucking good. I have to say that is my favorite alien movie.
Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm. The new Predator.
Alien from Ridley, not Alien, but Predator.
Well, I'm technically an alien too.
Bump, bump. You're not an alien anymore. You're a humanoid. We're all humanoid. No,
yeah. Like the United States government granted me the ability to be human and not being alien. Thank you, government of the United States, for allowing me to be human.
She's no longer an alien.
Because prior to that, apparently I was not human. I was alien.
They're all like, Lala, you can't be giving out your advanced like technological information. We can't be an alien anymore. Can't divulge all that stuff. So we're gonna make you human. Give you a card.
Yeah, let's erase your memory and your knowledge. And give you religion instead, because it makes more sense than
aliens,
logic.
Men in Black. Did you like Men in Black? I love Men in Black too. The first Men in Black. That was so fun.
Yeah.
So there are a lot of alien movies. There are a lot of alien movies that are really lighthearted and things like that. But now that we have extraterrestrials in little boxes in Mexico by way of Peru, and we have, films from the government, showing the UFOs or, unidentified aerial threats.
That shit blew my mind. You guys really watched the Cámara de Diputados de Mexico? What day was it released? Do you remember?
I don't remember. It was a few weeks
anyway
ago.
But it's the OVNI, so just look it up, Google it, just put Mexican government UFO meeting something. I don't know, sure Google will figure it out. Google and their AI.
If you guys haven't heard about it, Google and their AI. Their alien AI, like, where's AI from? alien technology. Who's inventing these? Like, who's really behind the coding? You know, it's like, is it
Bitch,
the
it's
green,
the
the grays,
Matrix.
the what?
It's the Matrix.
Oh, yeah.
We're in the Matrix. We've already been taken over by AI.
I mean, folks, check out Monsters of California if you got a chance. It's not a big movie, but it's got a movie with a heart, and you know, it's got a little crass humor, but it's still funny, and you know, it's a cool film.
It's like
So
Alien meets Half Baked, I think. You know, like they
there you go.
marry and create a baby, and then this is the product.
This is the offspring.
Oh, the offspring. Oh,
Yeah.
that was another thing I was going to ask you. One more thing before we go. You quoted, or did they mean to quote
Yes.
suicidal tendencies?
Of course.
Yes?
Yeah. that
Okay. Because I was
yeah,
like,
of course.
when
That was a
I
nod
went to your
suicide-
school, when I went to your
churches.
your institutional learning facilities, so how can you say I'm
Yeah.
crazy? And then,
Yeah, and then
if
he
you guys are
throws, he
into,
tosses it. Oh my god,
I'm
I
not
love
crazy. Institutions, you're the one who's crazy. They
Suicide-
stick you
it's
in
a-
an institution. The said it wasn't the only solution that you could get professional help.
Yeah, I love it. No,
I
for
love
sure that
suicidal
was
tendencies.
me
For all
too, and
y'all who are-
that was so deliberate, and that was so awesome. And everybody talks about like, oh my god, and it's like, yeah, it was like a nod to like that. I had a suicidal tendency shirt, you know, skated, and I just wore that, and you know, that's just like a kind of anthem.
Yeah,
You know,
it
was an
was. It
anthem.
like for me in high school, that was like one of my favorite fucking songs. And I would fucking blast it like super loud, just like I had a CD. Like one of the very few CDs I owned was Suicidal Tendencies.
CD. Does anybody know what a CD is? Lala, you're dating yourself.
I
No.
know, I
Listen to
totally
us.
am.
A CD, Simon says. Yeah.
Yeah, so back in the days, we used to use records too. Even pre-CD days. But anywho.
They had records, LPs.
Yeah. So anyway, I wanted to, and I'm sorry, like I forgot to ask you, but I wanted to because I was like, wait, are those the lyrics to the Suicidal Tendency song? You know what I mean? And I was like, fuck, it is. So it's good to get the confirmation. I got the point.
Absolutely. And it was deliberate, and it was
yes. Okay.
Thinking that in that instance, it's not like plagiarism or anything, but it's kind of a nod to
and that was another
anthem
thing I was gonna
the-
ask. Like, did you guys ask permission to have that, or like how did that work?
You know, it's a phrase, and I don't know that we needed to, or I don't know that they would get in trouble for doing that, because it's not the whole song, and he's not singing it, so it's used in a conversation, and it's more like you know, it's just like you're keeping them alive, you know, you're just like kind of in deference to them, and like it's sort of nice. It's a nice nod to like kind of remember them. And anybody that's watching it, like you watch and you're like, yeah, oh my stars. It's so like same thing.
Yeah.
Anybody that's in that like
genre of
again,
music
in that
would
get it.
Or that genre of mental thinking. I think it has to do with the culture of I think it's more like our generation grew up like this, you know. We were like, you know, I don't know, I think because I'm a product of like hippies, you know, 70s parents. And you know, and so but then I grew up in like punk era, and so I was like a fucking metalhead, you know, colored, you know, fucking flat pants, boots, etc., you know, mosh pits, you know, and so that's why I was able to identify the song from Suicidal Tendencies. So that's how I was like, oh my god,
like only a certain when only a certain group of friends understands you.
Yes, exactly. Had all my like none of my friends listen to this music. So well, none of the friends that I have left now listen to it. So yeah, like if they watch this movie, they would not get the reference of the lyrics, and it's just like, oh, and it's so key.
But it would resonate. It would resonate.
But it's so key. Like, I feel like I connected so much more with the movie because I connected so well with that thinking, because I was in high school and this was like my anthem. This was my anthem song in high school. Like, I just felt I was so misunderstood. And so, like, literally this resonated with me so much, like that song. So that's why I was like, oh my God. And that's a key thing I wanted to ask you, was like, was this intentional? Did you guys, the filmmakers, you as an editor, like, keep it on, etc.?
Oh yeah, for sure. That was, to me, that was like probably one of the most important scenes in the movie, that argument, there's like arguments you have with like family members when you don't get along, where it's just like they're not understanding you and they're doing things and they're not understanding your feelings, and you got to get the fuck out of there. But that's it. Monsters of California. Check it out.
Dude, it was really good. Like I said, if monsters and half baked got married and had a baby, this would be the product.
Well,
so
folks,
if you're into that genre, watch it.
Give it a shot.
Let us know what you
Support it.
think.
It's a small film. It's not a big studio film, so it's like a passion project. It was something that he wanted to do, and put it out there, and I applaud him for that, because it's a lot of criticism from a lot of people, but it's not for everybody. So if it's not for you, it's not for you. But check it out. It might be for you.
Well, when you're an artist, that is just, you always have to take criticism. And so I support the arts, like any kind of arts, like, that's why actually Rich and I wanted to start this podcast, because we wanted to display people who are artists in various kinds of arts. And so, so
there we go.
Keeping true to what we did this for. Yes, it's
Yeah.
All right, folks.
Well,
sorry we spoke too long, but this is our what happened this week.
So this is our Whahahappen for this week, and hopefully we'll be
wait before we go. So I had to take a little break. We didn't record for 2 weeks because I had to move out of my storage unit, and I just kind of didn't feel like doing this. So anyway, thank you so much for not stopping listening to us. But sometimes you need to take a personal time off. And so what I wanted to make a point with this is that, take care of your mental health. Don't overwork yourself. Don't stress yourself out. If you need to take time off, take it off. Like, it's not a big deal, So anyway, with that said, thank you guys so much for listening to us, and we'll see you again. We'll see you again next week. Ciao.
All right. Bye-bye.
To follow us, you can go to whahahappen.com for a link to all of our social media and to read our bios.
If you would like us to read your story,
may it be funny or scary or just some hot cheese mix,
please email us at stories@whahahappen.com.